I believe this is the first time we've spoken, right?
It is, my friend, yeah.
Mm. But we've both been on a considerable journey. I'm not going to call it an intimate one. Many people have taken it, but not too many people have wrapped their mind around it, so to speak. Uh, and that, of course, is, if you're here, you already know, the EMPCOE, which is the electromagnetic pulse changeover event, coined by a truther, or not to lose that term lightly, on YouTube, named Brian Austin Lambert. But I am talking to TT. He's a friend from Twitter. We've been in the trenches several times, but as we say, first time we've talked. How you doing, brother?
Not bad, mate. Not bad.
Mm. You're
Still grinding on.
you're reaching out from the UK, yeah?
Yep.
Mm. How's it feel these days up there, out there?
It's hard to tell because it's hermit lifestyle most of the time for me anyway. It's not made much of a difference in my everyday life, but everybody who I speak to, they can all see straight through it.
Mm. And your signal's mostly on Twitter, am I right?
I'm only on Twitter and YouTube, that's it. I don't use any other platforms.
Well, what spoke to you about Twitter? Because you do seem to have a signal there.
I just stumbled across it one day, to be honest. I was kind of bored. I'd only ever watched videos on YouTube. I'd never had an account or anything. And just stumbled across it one day. Found a few interesting accounts and it just went from there. I think it's just nice and simple, isn't it?
It is pretty clean. I agree with you there. But before we lose our way, in your words, what is the EMPCO?
The EMPCOE, the EMPCOE is always, it's Brian Austin Lambert and Mia, like you say, coined that term, and it's the electromagnetic plasma changeover event.
Mm.
And what he's done really is it's his model and his explanation. That is kind of exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We know
And
it's
that would,
electromagnetic in nature, and we know it's a changeover, as in the electricity and the electromagnetic field.
hmm. Um, why are we discussing another?
I think a lot of people use that name, Cujo, EMPCO,
Well,
but
this,
it is his thing that he did coin the term. So if anybody who's talking EMPCO, you've got to
well,
mention the name Brian Austin Lambert as well.
it does come in a couple different flavors. There's the plasma apocalypse, so people definitely
Mm-hmm.
discuss it by sidestepping. I'm not much for like proprietary knowledge in these days. It's the age of information. If you're trying to gatekeep, you're slowing me down. But
Oh, for sure.
do you think I got derailed for a second? Do you think where was I going to go with that? This is already quality. Um, Now, when you first started taking that journey,
Yeah.
conspiracy side, you said you kind of live out in the countryside. Are you would you consider yourself on the fringes before you encountered this truth or narrative?
What it was with the plasma event or the reset in general, it were coming off the back of the Tartaria mud flood research.
Mm,
That's what's done it for me, and it was like just seemed like the next natural progression, the next natural stage piece of the puzzle, so to speak.
and if it is the linchpin, I think what I was working towards is that right now you might be asking yourself, why are these two cats discussing a YouTube creator? Well, if you're keeping score, Brian and Mia reached probably conservatively about 3 million people around the world. Now, not all that information hit, but there are people, at this stage of the narrative that are kind of twisting. So if you're saying, why is this conversation happening? Well, it's for these folks. But to get to the next bit, when you encountered this information, it was like something clicked and you
Oh, big
decided to
time.
kind of create, or everybody sees it their own way. What spoke to you about the model?
it was really, it all comes back down to that one word, like it says, plasma. It just keeps coming up time and time and time again.
Mm.
Every time this word keeps cropping up. And one of the main things he said in early on in his videos is he showed you the plasma ball. Get this image in your head. It's all about the plasma, quote unquote. And it does. It keeps coming up. It's sort of modern technology. If you want to go down the possible weather manipulation route, it's all plasma stuff.
Now, were you savvy with pop culture before you encountered this narrative? Like, was it kind of like a bunch of things started to click? You're like, oh, Thanos, oh, this and that kind of thing?
For sure. I mean, I'm not on like the scientific academic side of things at all. That's a struggle.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I think this generation, especially, is the pop culture so deep within us, ingrained within us. That's the main thing for me. Out of everything, all the different angles you could go, whether it's the science, history, religion, the pop culture one, the media and pop culture one, really goes deep. I think really it's key.
It's the triangle that kind of verifies it, no?
For sure, because like not everybody can get their head around electromagnetics and electricity and all that scientific jargon, what comes along with it. But we all know, we all recognize the symbols in the movies.
Mm-hmm. Well, along with such a bold truth, came with an equally bold storyteller of that narrative, Brian Austin.
Quite
What
a
was
character.
what was your initial impressions? Were you willing to put up with the character for the truth, or did you kind of feel from the outset that this might be some kind of psyop twist?
I was open-minded from the beginning. See, the thing was, I sort of stumbled on Brian Austin Lambert from another channel first.
Mm.
So I'd already come across the plasma apocalypse. I come across Jay first. I was already subscribed to Jay.
Okay. Shout out, brother.
Yeah, his first video on the plasma, he obviously mentioned Brian Austin Lambert. So I went straight across and watched his working model of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I've learned long ago, Cujo, that you've got to use your discernment and see it through. I thought there's definitely something to it. And that was enough to me to hear him out, you know?
Well, was it his scientific approach? Did the Catholic Church, like, sundial angle get to you? What was it that spoke to you right off the bat?
I think it was just like it's just the references, like every connection he was making. It was like, yeah, another penny dropped, another penny dropped, another penny dropped. Because it's what he's basically done, I think, is he's weaved a massive web of all these other things what we've already like touched on and already know about. He's sort of brought it all together. Excuse me. It'd be
You're
like
good.
Electric Universe, Thunderbolts, but bringing in on this new angle of we don't believe in the heliocentric and globe model anymore. They're coming from like a flat Earth dome sort of perspective. So
If
it
you
just
could,
caught my attention. Definitely caught my attention from the beginning. I just couldn't stop listening. I just watched the whole thing through, and it clicked. And I wasn't really aware about his websites and whatever. I was just going on the EMPCOE series.
yeah. Well, did you ever exchange emails with him along the way, or no?
No.
Fair enough. If there was one little bit of science or just imagery that you would take from his classroom, just to pass it on to folks that may just be kind of casual, what would it be?
It would be the Taurus field. It'd definitely be the Primer fields. That's the thing, isn't it? It's the Primer fields by David LaPointe.
Yeah, I imagine it is.
That's real science.
Well, I suppose we're talking legacy. If this is an epilogue, then there was a twist in the story. That twist is that it's alleged that both Brian Austin Lambert and Mia, his research partner, were killed. And that was spoken by a video that had essentially no traction behind it and one comment that verified the information. Be that as it may, I don't think we're going to get caught up in the emotions. Having heard and read what we have, your thoughts?
I don't really know. From what we've got to go on, I've no reason to doubt. I've no reason to doubt it.
Well, do you
there's
think
not much evidence, is the Cujo? What is the a screenshot? And
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen the video. I'm not deep within like the people who was in on the websites who knew him personally. It's just what I've heard. I've got no reason to believe anything else.
Well, if you were
No, there's always suspicion, but
if you were a gambling man, would you break two people that were brilliant scientifically but out of their element business-wise, or a narrative that they wanted to nope out on, I suppose, their quote-unquote responsibility to their community?
Tough one. It's like either one extreme or the other, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
either it's literally one extreme or the other. I don't want to say some sort of con man. Either it was some sort of con and quote unquote they've run away with the money, is what's being said. Now, did he get in too deep, and is it because we know it's real? Whether the subject is bigger than Brian Austin Lambert, we know it's real.
Well, let me kind of break that way. You know, sometimes people in our society, whether they're theater or not, tell truths, and then they undermine their character to kind of shut down that storyline. Do you think? I mean, the plasma signal, the EMPCOE signal, it wasn't very big to begin with. Do you think that this knowledge, I don't want to say dies, but is now in the hands of the people it's been disseminated with, and they decide?
Tough one, isn't it? I think if we're getting into like the deep inner workings of the EMPCOE model and how everything works, that's difficult, because unless you've been paying all that money, subscribed to the websites, and it's difficult to do.
Yeah.
So you can cover it basically, but if we're getting into people want to know, well, how's the dome, how's the sun work, how's the cycle work, how's the torus field work, do you know?
Yeah.
That's the thing, because it's easy to criticize them, but which other model has explained it? So I think that's come the closest. I know we've seen a few, some other good ones, FPV Angel, and
yeah, they don't put too fine a point on it.
It's the best model I found. What just wraps it all up, and if you're willing to hear it out, you can't help but it just clicks every time. No matter what you think of him personally, like we said, Cujo, it's a bit of a paradox. Well, the information and what you think of him, and how they was operating on a personal level, apparently.
Well, I can kind of digest it on the level that there's always flawed geniuses. Our world throws them out all the time. And I will put that label, just because if you know how hard it is to create a signal, create that classroom. I have my own opinions about it, but I'm sure I'll share that at another time. I suppose parting shots at this point. You and I are left with this world. How did the knowledge of the EMPCOE change your personal path from the time it found you till now?
Good question. I think one of the main things is it's not about they or them anymore so much to me. Because if this event's real, then it's sort of, this is what you want to be focusing on. It's not them or they what's doing it. It's the naturally occurring cyclical event. So there is no them or they to be, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that way it is empowering, because it's beyond them, in my opinion.
Well, I'm definitely
that's a big one.
Not going to disagree. You and I have both framed it in our own ways. as we understand fragments of it.
Yeah,
But,
for
you
sure.
know, let's say that this world is a cliche and it's bad theater, and somehow this finds both of them living it up on the beach. Uh,
Hmm.
any words for Brian and Mia?
Cheers, nice one.
Mm,
You did your bit, I suppose. Credit
yeah.
and criticism when due. That's all you can say, isn't it? It's been a big part of my journey anyway.
Yeah, I'm
Some things
definitely,
click and some things stay, do you know what I mean?
yeah, I do. Well, hey, it caused us to cross paths, so that's not a bad thing. Um, TT, drop your social. If people want to reach out and chat you up, of course, that'll always be a pleasure. Where can they find you?
It'll be at TT90 on Twitter.
Mm, fair
And
enough.
same name for YouTube channel.
Gotcha. All right, Plasma brother. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure this won't be the last time we chat. Am I right?
Well, the jury's still out. We'll have to see and watch for more information coming out on it, mate.
Yeah, yeah, I
See if
suppose
anything
that's
else comes
true.
of it. Because it's not, it's, like I say, I'm not sure. But I would say if it is legit, then, you know, it's sad news. Rest in peace. They've got families, children,
Indeed.
all respect. But we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. But the subject's not over, and the plasma event's not over.
Word. Yeah, however it breaks, I'm sure the story will continue. But it's been a pleasure, my man. Thank you.
All right, brother. Nice one.
Cheers.
Take care, mate.